Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. So as you can tell from the title, I'm finally doing the healthy and sustainable weight loss tips for beginners. This has been so requested since I did the My Fitness Journey video, and I finally have put together, on my phone as always, like basically 10 tips that I wish I would have known when I first got into fitness. I have already done a slightly similar video to this. It's called 10 tips for starting a healthy lifestyle. I will have that link down below. I think a lot of people found that video really helpful, and this one is a little bit similar, like I said, but it is just more geared towards weight loss, fat loss. We're gonna get straight into this. Like I said, if I look down at my phone, I apologize. I don't want this video to be like all over the place. Please keep in mind, these are just general tips to point you in the right direction. Different things work for different people, and you just kind of have to figure out what works best for you, but I do think that this would be a good starting point. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with tip number 1, and it is pick a goal. And you're probably watching this video and you're like, what? I already have a goal. It's weight loss, obviously, which is why I'm watching this video, but I think that a lot of beginners, because I do still get questions on this all the time, get a little bit confused when it comes to building muscle and weight loss. I'm sure that if you've been into fitness for a while now, then you definitely know this, but in order to lose fat or weight, you have to be in a caloric deficit, and in order to build muscle, you have to be eating in a caloric surplus. Simply put it, when it comes to weight loss, you want to be eating less calories than you're expanding in a day. And I think this is where a lot of beginners get confused, and I say that because of the messages that I personally receive on my Instagram and YouTube. And the first thing that I say is just try and pick a goal, because in order to build muscle, you have to be eating more calories than you're expanding in a day. So both of those goals are just kind of on completely different sides of each other, and you need to do two different things in order to get there. My general advice is, if you are at a comfortable body weight and if you're comfortable with your body fat percentage, then you should bulk, especially as a beginner, because you have this great window of being able to build a good amount of muscle, which after a while of being into fitness and weightlifting and stuff, it just gets a little bit harder because our bodies are extremely adaptive. So if you're new to the gym and you're new to weightlifting, it is the time to do it. However, I also understand that a lot of people get into fitness because they are not comfortable with their body fat percentage, and the last thing they want to do is eat in a caloric surplus, because you will build muscle, but at the same time, you will also gain a little bit of fat. It's almost inevitable. So if you're not at that place, that is totally okay. You'll actually most likely experience something called newbie gains. It's when your body composition changes a little bit. So even though you will be in a caloric deficit, you'll still probably build some muscle at the same time, which is great. Not as much as you would if you were eating in a caloric surplus, but you could definitely take advantage of it. So I just took a really long time to explain that. I apologize, but I hope now you have an idea of why it's important to pick one goal. Now, tip number 2 that I have is to find a program that works for your schedule, that you enjoy, and follow it for 8 to 12 weeks. I've talked about this in the other video, and I've also talked about it in the My Fitness Journey video, but if you're looking for a great free program, then I recommend simplytryto.com. This video is not sponsored in any way. It's just a really good website, and if you look under articles, I think that's where you're going to find interviews of like fitness personnel, and they've listed their own programs on that website. So you can look at a couple of articles and just see which program would work best with your own schedule and what you feel comfortable doing. If there's anything that you want to like change or add to the program, you can of course do that, whatever works best for you, but that's a really good start. I think it's really important to come into the gym having a plan right in front of you, know exactly what you need to do, how many reps, how many sets, and that way you don't have to like think about it. I remember doing this a lot. I would overthink things a lot. Like I would start to focus on other people and what they're doing and what they're thinking of what I'm doing, etc., etc. So I realized that when I had my program, I had a hat on, I had my headphones on, I could kind of just like blur out the rest of the world and focus on what I'm doing. Now, tip number 3, and that is to figure out whether you want to count your calories / macros, or if you want to follow intuitive eating. One of the most common questions that I get is whether or not it's possible to reach your goals without having to count your calories and your macros, and it is 110% possible. When I first got into fitness, I did not count my macros, I did not count my calories. I actually took the clean eating approach because that is what I was seeing on Instagram and YouTube at the time. It was very restrictive. It caused me later down the road have a really bad relationship with food. However, I do think that it's possible to eat intuitively while also honoring your cravings, eating healthy, and reaching your goals. Now, there is pros and cons with either way you want to go. With macros, you're obviously being very specific, and you'll most likely reach your goals a little bit faster because You're tracking all your food, you know exactly what you're eating, how much you're eating, etc. But the con to that is that you start to view your food as numbers, and in a way could lead you to also have a bad relationship with food. With intuitive eating, you might not be exactly on point all the time because you're not tracking your calories and macros. You might not reach your goals as fast as you'd like. However, the pro to that is that you have a little bit more balance in your life, and you're still choosing what you want based on like looking at a food as a whole, whether it's healthy, whether it has micronutrients and fiber and things like that, and not so much just the macro breakdown that a food has. I don't know if that made sense, but I really hope that it did. In my opinion, it's completely up to you whether or not you want to track your macros. If you feel like it won't impact you negatively and won't affect your relationship with food, then obviously go ahead and do it and try it out. See if you like it. You might love it, and it might be the perfect way for you to reach your goals. And if you are someone who's maybe struggled with restrictive eating in the past or with binge eating or anything like that, then I would recommend to not follow It Fits Your Macros and just listen to your body and eat intuitively. I will have a calculator listed down below that you can use to figure out your macros. Just keep in mind with those things, like you plug in your information and it'll just kind of give you a number, and it's a good starting point, but they might work for you and they might not, and you won't know until you try. One more thing with that, just make sure you guys aren't setting your calories too low, as your goal should be to lose as much weight / fat as possible and the highest amount of macros and calories. Our bodies are extremely adaptive, and if you start too low, it's not going to give you any room to like lower them when you plateau out, which you most likely will. Basically, setting your calories too low could affect your metabolism in a very negative way, so you want to try and eat as much as you can while also losing weight. Tip number 4, incorporate 3 to 4 enjoyable cardio sessions a week. My preferred style is HIIT, high intensity interval training, and I do have like an entire video on it. I will have that link down below as well. There's so many links in this video, I apologize. But the reason I say enjoyable is because not a lot of people like HIIT. Maybe you prefer low intensity cardio or moderate intensity cardio. That's completely up to you. HIIT has been proven to be better for fat loss, but at the end of the day, it's whatever you can stick to. And I would recommend that you do those 3 to 4 cardio sessions for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on what you're doing. With HIIT, they're obviously going to be a little bit shorter, and with moderate intensity or low intensity, they could be a little bit longer. Number 5. Eat 85% healthy, micronutrient dense foods. The reason I say 85% and not 100% is because of sustainability. I don't think that most people can eat 100% clean. We have cravings, we have things that we like, and when we tell ourselves that we're going to eat 100% clean and then one day we just don't, it could feel really shitty, and in return it could cause you to give up on your goals and feel like a failure when at the end of the day you're not. I always talk about this, like I love chocolate, I love ice cream, I love cookies. If I try to cut them out completely, I will end up eating a lot more than I would have if I had just allowed myself to eat what I was craving in that point in time. Now you could be a superhuman and you might really love healthy food and not have any cravings. Like my sister loves vegetables. It's her favorite thing. She doesn't like chocolate. She hates ice cream. I'm like, we are not related. Like, I love all those things. I feel like I took that entire gene. Moving on. Tip number 6. Commit to living a healthy lifestyle and realize that this is not a quick fix diet. It's more about making it just part of your daily routine and practicing healthy habits whenever you can, slowly transitioning into it instead of jumping in it like head first. I have been in that place. I have tried those diets. They never ever work. Losing 2 pounds or even 1 pound in 2 weeks will take you so much farther than trying to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, because you will definitely gain those 10 pounds back when you go back to eating your regular food. Number 7, when it comes to picking your food choices, try and incorporate as much volume foods as you can. So for example, vegetables, they don't have a lot of calories in them and they have a lot of volume, which means that they're going to keep you fuller for longer. All right, so tip number 8, whether you're tracking your macros or you're eating intuitively, just make sure that you have a balanced amount of carbs, fats, and proteins in your diet. For most individuals, unless you're doing it for some sort of medical reason or you are competing in a bodybuilding competition, it's just not a good idea to eat low fat, low carb, or extremely high protein. Carbs give us energy and fiber, which is really important for your digestive tract. Fats help with hormone regulation, and protein, as I'm sure you've heard, it helps preserve and build muscle. So it's really important to have a balance of all of those macronutrients in your diet. I actually wrote out examples of each. So a good example of carbs would be oatmeal, quinoa, brown rice, whole grain bread, potatoes, fruits, and vegetables. And then for fats would be avocado, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, chia seeds, and almond butter. And then for protein, as I'm sure some of you guys know, I am pescatarian. So for me, it would be like tempeh, lentils, beans, tofu, salmon, vegan meat substitutes, anything like that. So my camera's about to die. I'm going to try and get through 9 and 10 really quickly. 9 is really obvious one. It is drink enough water, get enough sleep, and manage your stress. Those 3 things play such a huge role when it comes to weight loss. Let's say, for example, you are someone who has been tracking your macros, you've been completely on point with them, you've been following your workouts, you've been doing your cardio for 2 weeks straight, and you see no progress. Take a look at your stress, your sleep, and your hydration. If one of those things or all of those things are off track, then try and fix those before you drop your macros or you add in more cardio. There's a very high possibility that that is what is affecting your weight loss and stalling it. And this brings us to tip number 10, which I think is the most important one out of all of them. Don't cut out all the food that you enjoy. This life is too short to not eat food that makes you happy, food that makes you feel better after a shitty day, food that is from a different culture that you might not get a chance to try again, food that you can enjoy with your family and your friends and not have to feel guilty about it. I think the best way to make this last is to find a balance between healthy for your body and healthy for your mind. For me, healthy for my mind is cookies, brownies, ice cream, and all things that are sweet. So that is the end of this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next one.